queso mozzarella,
Mozzarella cheese is a recent addition to our diet
recién llegado a nuestras dietas.
and has become an essential ingredient in many recipes. We have consumed dairy products for a long time, cheese among them. It can come in many shapes and types. But how is it manufactured on an industrial scale? As in all cheeses, the main ingredient in mozzarella is fresh milk, in this case, buffalo milk. And to obtain good quality milk for the manufacture of this product, buffaloes must be raised under ideal conditions, since on their proper development depends their level of milk production, thus obtaining an optimal raw material from which to make delicious mozzarella. In this program, we will learn how it's made. Mozzarella cheese comes from Italian cuisine, and although there are variations, it has been shown that the Italian tradition is the oldest. Its name comes from the old Italian verb mozzare, which means to cut. Through time, it has become one of the most sought-after and delicious cheeses throughout the world. Where does our production process begin? It begins at the farm, where we provide technical assistance through the Quality Control Department, where what we do is to work together with our suppliers to implement good milking practices, and in the storage in cold tanks of the milk we are going to receive in the factory. That is our first stage. Now let's learn about the milking system in one of the farms where we source milk for the making of mozzarella cheese.
Milking usually begins around 1:30 or 2 a.m. There is a worker, the cowboy, who is in charge of rounding out the buffalo from pasture to pasture and brings them to an embankment or road that leads to the machine milking area. Before entering the milking area, these buffalo wade through a pond in order to clean off some of the mud and dirt they bring from the pasture. Once they pass through this pond, the buffalo enter a walkway and go to the milking room's holding pen. Here, a worker will wash them again with a hose and finish taking off the mud that's left on their bodies. After being washed, they go to the next holding pen, where they will wait to suckle. The calves are placed in a pen in the middle of the holding area so that the buffalo are stimulated by their offspring from the moments they arrive. They're waiting to begin suckling. We take out each buffalo's calf and they proceed to suckle. When milk letdown happens, we remove the calf and the buffalo proceed to the milking stalls, the machine milking stalls. As soon as the buffalo enter the stalls, as a supplement, we feed them corn that was grown and harvested right here at the farm. Among the duties and functions of the operators of the milking room is to maintain proper cleaning and hygiene. We then proceed to pre-milk like this, even if they've suckled before coming into the stall. We pre-milk in order to verify the physical quality of the animal's milk. We can verify that there's no abnormal content, and on some occasions it can show us cases of mastitis. That's why we pre-milk, and afterwards we proceed to teat cleaning. Teat cleaning is done with a disinfectant which you leave on for approximately 10 seconds to give it time to neutralize any opportunistic pathogen found on the teats. Then we wipe off the remaining cleaning agent with newspaper. We proceed to enter the buffalo's number into the MPC that is present in each stall in order for the milking to start for each buffalo. Once the milking is ordered, you take out the milking cups and put them on the right buffalo. Milking times vary according to the amount of milk in each one, which is between a range of 4 to 5 minutes and sometimes longer, according to their production, if their production is higher. This equipment has a technology that identifies when the animal is running out of milk or has stopped producing, and it automatically removes the milking cups. It has a vacuum pump so that during the milking process there is no contact with the operator. Instead, it goes directly to the cooling tanks. Once in the cooling tanks, we have to maintain the safety of the product, in this case the milk, to avoid, as much as possible, any intrusion by rodents. We have two sectors, one where the tanks are located, and in another is a tank where there is a washer that pumps water for washing the milk transport mechanism.
The next stage is transportation. Transportation is handled in a refrigerated tanker truck, a tanker that maintains the product refrigerated. Here at the plant, we receive the product at a temperature between 7 and 10 degrees Celsius. Before pickup, the driver in charge of this truck makes the necessary tests to make sure that the milk is in good condition.
Before I pick up the milk, I perform an analysis of fat content, protein, lactose, if it contains water or anything else. The machine that I use to take the samples will show me right away. If this milk does not meet those requirements, it will be turned away from the plant.
After this test, milk begins its journey by truck to the cheese production plant. And it must traverse a long and difficult journey.
At 5 a.m. at the earliest, I begin to pick up at the farms. I have to wait for the milk to go down to 3.5 degrees Celsius, and from there I keep collecting until I leave for the plant. Right now I am picking up in 3 places: Santa Inés, Agua Clara, and Praga. The trip from the farm here to the plant takes 2 hours. The road is in bad shape, so I have to go slow because there are too many potholes. When it rains, I also have a lot of difficulties in getting out. I have to go slow. The road is bad. The car has to be, it's better if it's full. After it's full, there are no problems because the milk doesn't shake as much and it keeps the temperature low.
Let's now talk about the location of the factory, the sourcing of the milk, and its distribution for the manufacture of mozzarella cheese.
We are located in Planeta Rica in the province of Córdoba. We are an hour from Caucasia and an hour from Monteria at the road intersection. We source milk from the region, from 2 farms that produce very good quality milk, and our special sanitary conditions are, I think, some of the best at the national level, and maybe even internationally. We have some very good farms that produce good quality milk and that supply us with the best raw milk for our production.
Plant Planeta Rica is divided into key areas, a quality control department and a production department. The items that we produce here at the plant are mozzarella, milk caramel, Greek yogurt, ricotta cheese, fresh cheese, costeño cheese, sour cream, and butter. The tanker truck arrives. The quality control department does its analysis, looking at temperature, acidity, pH, and we perform a compositional analysis that tells us percentages of fat, proteins, total solids, density, and the presence of added water. We validate the ECOMIL compositional analysis through the Gerber machine and periodic analysis performed by an external lab here at the plant. In addition, we perform microbiological sampling of the quality of the milk that we are working with. This is done on a weekly basis. We've learned some of the qualities that the milk must have so it can be made into mozzarella. We now continue with the production process inside the plant.
To make genuine mozzarella, it's required that the milk used to make it have a total solid and special fat solids that can only be obtained from buffalo milk. It also has special characteristics, such as a low keratin count. It's absent from the milk. But instead of keratins, the buffalo deliver a good amount of vitamin A, which makes buffalo milk very beneficial and easily digestible by humans. We have found that people with lactose intolerance don't have that problem with our milk or its byproducts. We believe that it may be due to the large amount of vitamin A in our buffalo milk.
Now let's look at the comparison of the chemical composition of buffalo and cow milk. Buffalo milk contains 17.96% total solids versus cow milk, which has 12.83%. The quality of fats and proteins are also significantly higher than cow's milk, which has 7.64% fats versus 3.9%. and 4.6% proteins versus 3.47%. The percentage of lactose is very even, 4.83% in buffalo milk and 4.75% in cow's milk. It takes 5.5 liters of buffalo milk to produce 1 kilo of mozzarella cheese. By contrast, it would take between 8 to 10 liters of cow's milk. When the quality control department states that the milk is ready for the process, then we begin production, according to the schedule in place, and following the procedures we've established at this plant. For example, if we talk about mozzarella production, the next stage is pasteurization at 72 degrees for 15 seconds. What is our goal with pasteurization? To eliminate pathogenic bacteria present in the milk. By doing so, we are guaranteeing that the consumers, our end customers, will have a product that will not get sick by consuming our products. After pasteurization comes the handling of the product in the vats. In the vats, we conduct an acidification process. We add lactic bacteria, specific lactic bacteria cultures. We inoculate the milk with bacteria. We acidify for 90 minutes. We add the rennet, which is the enzyme that induces curdling. Then we perform a cutting process. All the while, we are monitoring 2 fundamental variables in the process. Actually, 3 variables: acidity, pH, and temperature. Temperature, in order to guarantee the activity of lactic bacteria and to obtain standardized process times, and acidity in order to control and verify that the bacteria are doing their job, and to control process timing. After the introduction of rennet, we cut the curds. The cutting is done according to temperature and pH. Then we separate the whey from the curds. The separation is in order to remove all of the whey present and isolate the curds. After this separation, we take the curds and transfer them to a table, where we finish compacting the cheese paste. We perform a stretching test, which consists in dipping the curd, a small amount of the curd, in hot water, and to make sure the curd is elastic, plastic, smooth, and shiny. All the while monitoring pH. The pH of the thread should be between 505 and 490. Those are the measurements we've determined that are key to the quality of our finished product. Now that the threading has begun, we proceed to a machine that feeds the curds into a hopper that's equipped with blades. What the blades do is divide the curds and facilitate the next stage, which is inundation. By inundating the curds, what we do is put it in contact with 95 degrees Celsius water. And what we do is thermally condition the cheese for subsequent threading. Temperature conditioning takes between 1 and 2 minutes. Afterwards, we drain all the water and we start up the equipment. When we start the machine, what we do is activate the mechanical arms, which exert mechanical force on the cheese, and we hydrate it constantly with 95 degrees Celsius water. And after more or less 12 to 15 minutes, we have a curd that has gone from curd to threaded cheese. And that the mozzarella goes to an auger, which pushes the cheese to the molds that we are using, which is a function of the plant's production schedule. The mozzarella is then molded, and it falls off at a temperature of 65 degrees Celsius. It goes to the compressing area. The compressing area holds water that's between 8 and 10 degrees Celsius. What we want is to compress the cheese so that the cheese keeps its shape. It doesn't show deformities or cracks on its skin. And to drop the temperature quickly, what for? In order to avoid any contamination further down the production line. In prior segments, we learned about some of the steps in the making of mozzarella cheese. Now let's see what is the final process before leaving for stores. After the cheese has been molded and thermally conditioned, after it's been thermally conditioned in the cooling tank, we go to the salting stage, which is nothing more than a vat with brine with a specific salt content, where the mozzarella is held for a period of time, which depends on the product being made. After this time spent in the salting brine, we package it manually in the packing liquid. The packing liquid is nothing more than the water with a regulated pH and salt content, which guarantees the freshness and the quality of the mozzarella during the shelf life established by the plant. After the quality control department clears the product, then the commercialization process in the big cities begins. Myra spoke briefly about the characteristics of this cheese and some of its culinary uses. What characterizes mozzarella is its high moisture content, its high protein content, and its ease of use in cooking. We make products that have a very low salt content, but they are products that allow you to make a wide variety of dishes. If you want to make a sweet dish, you can. If you want to make a salty dish, you can as well, because the product is very neutral and it's ready for the consumer to season it to their taste. To finish off, Mr. Carlos Echeverri told us what the hardest thing about starting to work with mozzarella was, and encouraged buffalo milk producers to start making these products. Domingo also told us how he sees the future of buffalo milk in Colombia.
The most difficult part was learning about buffalo milk, because at the national level, there is no other company besides us that works 100% with buffalo milk, which is what we do. So we didn't have the knowledge or experience or equipment we needed to get the results with mozzarella that we wanted to obtain. But through trial and error and overcoming many difficulties, we've pulled through. And today, we are exporting, and we have the best mozzarella you can buy in the country. The future of buffalo in Colombia is good because it's dense, rich, and sweet. It's a very delicious milk. There are many buyers nowadays because it's very good milk. It gives great yield and production. Our advice is that it's been a 2-year process and it's been a difficult struggle, but it would be great if the cattle farmers and ranchers that can produce buffalo milk could have their plants to make buffalo mozzarella. That they would work it without mixing it, using 100% buffalo milk, because I believe that we have a breed that gives us a very good quality milk and spectacular benefits to humans.
This is how in these fertile lands, with plentiful pastures, which are the ideal habitat for raising a healthy buffalo, that the milk with the traits necessary to make natural dairy products of the highest quality, such as mozzarella cheese, is produced.